For me, the number one most obvious use for the S Pen is probably the most boring use. All of these foldable devices have kind of one of the same big problems, one of the same big annoyances for me, and it's that these screens are absolute fingerprint magnets. This is the OnePlus Open that I have been daily driving for the last little bit, and as you can see, it's disgusting. When the screen's on, you can't really tell, but boy, when that screen turns off, you're like, man, what is going on with this thing? It's horrible. By comparison, look at my cover display. Not too bad at all, but that inner screen is awful. And because of that, when I'm using the Z Fold 6 and I'm using the S Pen, a lot of the time, I'm just using it in place of my finger, and it prevents me from smudging up the screen. Again, that is a very boring use case, but it is something that I absolutely will use it for. But let's talk about some actual real S Pen use cases. So maybe you noticed this, maybe you haven't, but there's a little button right there that pops up in the corner. You can long press it and actually move it around. You can move it from side to side. I'm going to put it back over here. And whenever you click it, you'll have a series of options. You can click on Add, and you can actually add some more of these S Pen features to this, like the View All Notes thing, which is there now, or you can also subtract them away. So we've got pretty much all of those shortcuts on there, and I'm going to talk through each one of these and kind of explain it to you. Boy, I'm having some real issues getting that thing to work. So the first option here is Sketch to Image, and what this is going to do is it's going to fire up this screen where you are meant to draw something. Once you've done your, terrible little sketch, you can hit generate, and it's going to use generative AI to create that sketch, or to transform, as it says, that sketch into a proper image. And you can see that is exactly what we have done here. Now, one quick way that I want to kind of modulate this, or one additional tip I want to give you, is that when you use Sketch to Image, there's an option up here that actually changes the transparency. And what that will allow you to do is basically trace things as well. So if you have another image opened up underneath this, and I can kind of show you what I mean by this. Here is a photo. We'll do Sketch to Image, and then I will change that transparency. And then you can use this to basically quickly trace around the image that you have. And for some reason it did think that was a cat, but you get the general idea. So Sketch to Image is the first one of these options that I just wanted to kind of point out to you. The next one is called Smart Select. And this one's actually very, very powerful. We're going to jump into Feedly, and I'm just going to grab the very first news article here, and we will use Smart Select. We'll have a little bit of text and a little bit of an image in here to kind of show you both. So when you select Smart Select, what you can do is quickly circle something, and you can use Sketch to Image on that. You can add it to a note. You can copy it, share it, download it, all sorts of options for that bit of image. But you can also tap on text, and at that point you can copy that text, add it to a note, share it, whatever you want to do. Now, another cool option here, let's go back and grab that again. That kind of went a little bit wonky, is the option to pin. If you click here, you can pin that image up there, and you can either use it as a reference going forward. Maybe you just wanted to be able to look at that as you're doing other things, but you could also jump into your text messaging application, long press it, and then drag that in to actually send that image to someone. And of course, it's not just going to work on images, right? If I grab some text as well, I should be able to pin that little bit of text and do the exact same thing. Again, Smart Select is very, very powerful. That is a download button there. You can close it out. It's not quite the same thing as Circle to Search. I've seen people say, oh, I should just use Circle to Search. It's the exact same thing. It's not the exact same thing. It does have a similar functionality in that both of them will allow you to potentially select and share text, although you can see how the implementation is different. Next up, we have Create Note, and this is pretty straightforward. It's going to open up your Notes application, and you can just do whatever you want. You can quickly jot down a note. Now, there are actually a couple of different ways that I want to show you to get into this. So if you long press, if you press and hold, I should say, the little button here on the pen, and then tap your screen twice, you will also fire straight up into that note-taking scenario. Just go home. If you lock the device and do the same thing, you can actually quickly jot down a note on your lock screen. You've not actually even unlocked the device, and you can do the exact same thing. One more handy thing that the Samsung Notes program, one more thing that the Samsung Notes app can do with your S Pen that I find really, really useful is PDF markup. I'm going to fire up just a media kit that YouTube will actually generate for you these days. And if you click on the little button in the top right-hand corner, you can go into this markup option. And from there, you can do all sorts of useful things using that S Pen. In fact, I would say this is probably the easiest way that I own to actually mark up a PDF. So that is very useful. ScreenWrite is another interesting one. So let's open up a page again. We will do ScreenWrite. And what it's going to do is quickly take a screenshot, but then you can immediately sort of just scribble down something on that screenshot. You can circle text, whatever you want to do. You can just do it directly from, get rid of that notes there, directly from this screen here. So it's basically just firing up your screenshotting tool with that additional little advantage of immediately being able to mark things up. Translate is another pretty cool one. Now you can change up here the languages. What we're going to do is we're going to go from English to Spanish, and if I just sort of hover on top of text, you'll see that translation will quickly appear. It's not something that's like particularly useful to me, but if you do speak another language and that is a barrier for you, that is a really nice option. Magnify. So this one here, if I hover, I'm going to simply magnify whatever I'm looking at. And you can change the magnification level there. Now it's up to 300. Let's go ahead and click. I guess it's making it bigger. Yeah, there we go. It's making it a little bit larger. So using that hover feature to magnify things. And then Pinup is an application that is sort of built in here, and I've not actually fired it up on this device, so we'll jump into it really quickly. But basically what it allows you to do is all sorts of like sketching things. So you can do a coloring book thing, like my wife would actually really probably enjoy something like this. You can grab this image, grab different colors and, you know, zoom in and actually color in this cat if you enjoy that type of thing. And of course, like I mentioned, that little pop-up is completely customizable. You don't have to have things on there that you don't want to have on there. If you want to remove something, just click the little minus button and it's going to toss it off there. You can see I've removed some things that I don't personally find all that useful, things I'm not going to use, and only left on there things I'm going to use. So this next one is only going to be as useful as your handwriting is good, and mine is absolutely terrible, so it's not that useful. But basically, with the S Pen and with either the Samsung keyboard, as you can see here, or even with Gboard, you have the ability to have your S Pen be recognized and to literally write into the text field. And you can see what I mean here, so I'm just going to write testing. And it should replace that in there with what I just wrote in normal text. Again, my handwriting is awful, so this is not particularly useful to me. Let me switch over to Gboard, and I'll show you that the same thing should be possible, and it worked pretty well there as well. As I have said in the past, I am no Galaxy S Pen expert. This is really a product that is meant for other people and not me. But hopefully those are some, at least somewhat basic tips and tricks that might help you get the most out of your S Pen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.